to smoking all sorts, drinking all sorts. I mean, it was just yesterday here that we agreed that some of them drink all sorts and come home and ignore the same women who must have gone to work, taking care of the kids, and even kept food on the table. And so at the end of the day, I think it's about the mental health of these men from childhood. That's why I asked you initially about the family. When we talk about mental health, it's a whole lot. It's a compound of so many things. What do you tell your children? What do you tell your male child? Do you pressure your male child to believing that if he cannot provide, he is worthless? What kind of example do you set as a family, as a couple, as parents, or as a single parent, as the case may be? For me, I think the conversation should be going down to what kind of... Do you keep telling men that men don't cry? Do you keep telling men that men should not feel bad, men cannot show emotions? Do you tell them any which way na way? Do you tell them a man must do something? Do you tell them things like something must kill a man? I mean, these are some of the bizarre things you hear. What do we teach them in schools? I mean, beyond the home. What do we tell them in schools? Is it a case of demoralizing these boys? I mean, you hear things like teachers who tell male children things like, if you continue like this, you end up a battle pusher. You will be useless. You are damaging the psyche of these children. So, for me, the conversation should go down to grooming of these boys till they eventually become men and then, become husbands. Beyond these women, some of them carry burdens, scars from things their mothers said to them, from things their teachers said to them. You see some of them even seeing their value not to go beyond money because of things their mother said or their teachers said, not even because their wives are demanding. I mean, a man is supposed to be the protector and a provider. I understand he feels some kind of way if he cannot be those at a particular time. But why does he feel less of himself? If you trace it back, some of them bear scars. When do we start to groom men who can really be wounded and accept that I have been wounded, let it heal, and not cover it up and carry raw wounds around? And that is why you find out that some of them, the moment they make money, they become something else. Their wives become animals to them. Anything, they treat people anyhow. Because for them now, they have broken through. Actually, they say I cannot make money. I have made money. I'll do anything I like. So I think it's about the grooming, comrade. How do we break through this barrier about the wrong grooming of the male child?
Well, I agree with you that there is a lot of work on that aspect. Because, yes, anybody who is wired to perceive that even if problems amounts to mountain that covers even the entrance to your house, that we are still somebody. The person will not, even if the suicidal thoughts come in, the person will find a way to overcome and wave it off. And if we also dive into this suicide stuff, there are so many factors, which is more of some are spiritual, some are mental issues, not only because of hardship and what have you. There are some yes, depression. Some of these things out of you see people having suicidal thoughts, not actually because the person is having mountain of problem financially facing him, but is a mental challenge. Then, if we dive on into the spiritual, you have some lineage that have the preponderance of doing some of these things out of certain evils committed way back that is following the family.
So the question is, how do you groom men not to have that stereotypical thought and to maintain a resilient spirit in the face of difficulty? We know there are different reasons, but we're looking at the financial aspect. There is also an aspect that relates to marriage. You're a father, I'm just wondering if perhaps you were facing a difficult situation based on what you are talking about. What would you be telling maybe your child in terms of grooming him ahead of anticipating a difficult time? How should he handle it?
Exactly. There is urgent need to have the real men in this world of nowadays. More than I see those who tend to some of this suicide as another extreme form of weakness. because it's a manifestation of a total, do I use the word surrender, or you just give up, that there's nothing to hold on to again. But the real man is that man that knows that, yes, from the very day you came into the earth crying, you know that you have entered into the world full of pain, suffering, and hardship. And those things, overcoming them is what makes you the real man, not succumbing that you can't take it anymore. So the fact is that a lot of people need to realize themselves what they are worth, what they are made of. That a man's worth actually doesn't depend only on financial capacity or sexual prowess and what have you. I was talking to somebody someday and I said that the greatest poverty is the poverty of the mind, the mental poverty, not poverty of finance and what have you. So in my own case, like I used to tell my children that even if I have problem facing me, challenges facing me, I don't carry the challenge as in when I'm walking, this challenge will be walking ahead of me.
Yeah.
Rather, the challenge should be behind me. I take the lead, the challenge will follow me.
Okay.
So, because if I take the challenge as in, that is the only thing I see, the thing will be weighing me down. But behind the challenge, there is other things, prospects you can see. If you can actually see clearly. That's why one gospel artist, Pucci, he said that I see beyond what eyes can see. Men should actually see beyond what ordinary eyes can see. To know that the moment cannot determine what will happen in the years
future.
To come.
Yeah.
You might have challenge at the beginning of the year, but before the end of the year, you see yourself smiling. So if we are not wired in such a way that when these things come, you face it frontally as something that is just for a moment, and adopt an approach of living above board. It means that you can just at the snap of finger, you give up, and you all these insecticide and what have you. You see, before we used to hear that it's only when people carry rope, but now there are so many ways to die.
So many ways to cure yourself.
And so,
it's sad, Corey, but then let's talk about self-love. You know, it's like at the time it became a mantra on social media. Women would take pictures, hashtag self-love. But there is this assertion that men really do not even care for themselves enough to love themselves. And you know what they say about people treating you the way you treat yourself? Do you think this is possibly one of the reasons that, you know, the pressure is getting to more men and suicide being the escape?
Of course, anybody tilting towards suicide already, you first hated yourself because you just see yourself as in, and you don't want anything again. So the next thing is, let me just end it all. So yes, the thing is that no man can love you more than you love yourself. And somebody taught me also a lesson. The man told me years ago, as you are also struggling for your family, to make sure your kids are comfortable, to make sure your wife feels well, dresses well, and take care of yourself also. Get a percentage of what you earn to take care of yourself. If you fail to take care of yourself and slave everything 100% for your family members and your family, and you end up empty inside, you also die before your time. So that self-love, of course, because if you cherish yourself, no matter how, you won't contemplate giving up through suicide. That is the truth of the matter.
All right, Cameron, let's look at how some men run their families. Because when they run their families, they don't carry anybody along. Everybody is on your own. And so they're going through challenges. They can't even consult their wives. Because initially you try to say pressure from women. Yeah. But I know that a good wife is discerning enough not to pressure the husband, knowing fully well the difficulty he's going through. And so these women have that chance to maybe motivate the man. It's not the end of the word, pep talk the man, but a situation where a man doesn't consider the wife valuable enough to even consult her or even open up to her, and then he continuously bears some of this hardship. So I don't know how we can break that mentality that maybe women are not valuable enough to be consulted during hard times.
Yeah, that one is really an issue. You also mentioned, you added that quality adjective, good wife, because there are actually wives and there are wives also. And there are wives that are really bad, that if you end up with the person every day of your life, you be you see yourself.
Some good wives get frustrated when the men are not opening up.
Yeah.
Let's be mindful of that.
Yeah, I agree. So the good wives also have a role to play in this regard, to see how they will support the man, even if the man is not opening up.
So we are putting the responsibility back to the women.
It is the same thing with the men, because sometimes also because they don't actually communicate, and that's because what I call effective communication.
Yeah.
People are actually in the house, but they don't communicate effectively.
Yeah.
There are certain things they just do the basic thing, but effective communication, opening up, fears, challenges, successes, triumph, and what have you, they don't go all this area. They even building images and dreams of what the future should look like and working towards that. Most times you find couples these days, all man to himself. The wife is planning her own. Created a world on his own, living in the same household, but she's living in a world of her own.
Yeah.
The man also is detached somewhere. So there is need for actual bonding in this effective communication. Because with effective communication, the woman can as well know what the man is going through and offer help. If any man that doesn't value somebody you went and said, I want to marry you and bring home, you are doing yourself now. Because you know that the truth of the matter is that if you value and cherish the person, invariably, of course, it's natural that the person will also give.
So basically the message is, men, open up more.
Yes, it's very, very important. That effective communication prevents suicide. Because anybody also planning suicide is hiding it. There is every tendency that the person will not like to share until
it happens.
Okay, only if you leave a suicide note.
Yeah.
The majority doesn't even leave. You just see it and you begin now to ask you, regret.
Yeah.
So when did it get to this level? Hi, this and that.
Yeah. All right.
Personally, right, I've been very quiet about this. So, what is the role of the wife thing? Because I personally feel like at the end of the day, if we get some things right, like you pointed out anyway, how careful are people when it gets to the point of choosing a life partner? But then, for me, it is when you are convinced you need to choose a life partner, how careful are you towards grooming yourself to be a good life partner? Like Nchideka pointed out, sometimes it's a case of some of these men misstepping. And the truth is, one misstep can actually create a long list of havoc.
Of course.
You get it?
So reaction.
Reaction.
And the family.
A good wife becomes a bad wife.
You get it? And
toxic.
How much work do you put into being that partner that would not turn the other person to being toxic? I mean, trust me, humans make demons out of other humans.
Yeah.
And trust me, when you make another human a demon, it might be very difficult to tame. You might even, you get it, you might just have to suffer it.
Yeah.
And you might end up having your lineage, your children spread across like birds with nobody to really cater for them because there is a war at home. So let us talk about the man. For me, it's about the man here. What do you do towards building yourself? Like I said, loving yourself too. I mean, this is an era of, if it's not working, divorce. Okay? And as much as more people, people say men fear divorce more than women. But I think it's about time we should encourage more men to speak up. When you are putting in the work, okay, and you're certain you are putting the work, I'm on the putting the work, but speak up. you go through statistics and they tell you more women, more men do not, most men do not talk about what they go through in terms of DV, some of them, domestic violence